The massive space station floated in the darkness above the planet Kepler 442b. Inside the station, hundreds of alien beings from across the galaxy had gathered for an emergency meeting. The main hall was enormous, with seats arranged in circles that went up toward the ceiling. Strange creatures with tentacles, wings, and glowing skin filled every seat. Ambassador Zexthul stood at the center of the room. He was tall and thin, with blue skin that could glow in different colors. Right now his skin was flashing bright orange, which meant he was very worried. He hit the metal table in front of him with his hand, making a loud sound that echoed through the hall. "Friends from all worlds," Zexthul said in a loud voice. "We must talk about a planet called Earth. It is a small world with creatures called humans. I am here to warn you all. This planet is very dangerous. We must never go there." Many aliens in the room started talking at once. Some laughed, others made strange sounds. A large creature with 8 arms waved them in the air. "How can one small planet be dangerous?" asked Elder Veltara. She was made of pure energy and looked like a floating ball of light. "These humans do not even travel between stars. They are stuck on their one planet." Zexthul's skin turned from orange to deep red. This meant he was getting angry. "That is exactly why they are so dangerous. Listen to me carefully." He pressed a button on the table. The air above them filled with pictures, made of light. The pictures showed Earth floating in space. It was a beautiful blue and green planet with white clouds. But then the pictures changed to show the surface. "Look at this," Zexthul said, pointing at the images. "These humans have built cities everywhere. They have roads and bridges connecting, everything. But look closer. See those buildings? Those are weapon factories. See those vehicles? They can be turned into war machines in hours." The pictures showed human cities with tall buildings, busy streets, and millions of people. But Zexthul was right. There were military bases, weapon factories, and training grounds everywhere. "They have split the smallest parts of matter to make bombs," Zexthul continued. "They launched themselves into space by riding on controlled explosions. They built a network that connects their entire world. And the first thing they did was use it to practice fighting wars." A creature that looked like a giant insect clicked its mandibles. "But they fight each other, not outsiders. That makes them weak, not strong." Zexthul's skin flashed bright white, which meant he was shocked. "You do not understand. Yes, they fight each other, but when they face a threat from outside, they work together. And they have been fighting for thousands of years. Every single day, somewhere on their planet, humans are at war." He changed the pictures again. Now they showed human soldiers, tanks, aircraft, and ships. The weapons looked simple compared to what the aliens had, but there were so many of them. "They make entertainment about war," Zexthul said. "Their children play games about fighting. Their stories are about heroes who win battles. They study old wars and learn from them. Fighting is not just something they do. It is who they are." The room became very quiet. The aliens were starting to understand what Zexthul was trying to tell them. "But there is more," he continued. "They turn everything into weapons. They use their farming chemicals to make poison gas. They use their medicine knowledge to make diseases. They use their space rockets to deliver bombs. Nothing on their planet exists that they have not thought about using in war." An alien that looked like a walking tree asked, "How do you know all this?" "We sent spy drones to watch them," Zexthul answered. "The drones were invisible and very small. They watched the humans for many months. What we learned scared us so much that we came here to warn everyone." He showed new pictures. These showed humans working in laboratories, testing weapons and training soldiers. But they also showed something else. The humans were studying pieces of alien technology that had crashed on their planet over the years. "They found some of our old machines that crashed on their world," Zexthul said. "Instead of being afraid, they took them apart to learn how they work. They have been copying our technology for years. They do not have star travel yet, but they are learning." The room erupted in surprise sounds from many different species. This was very unusual. Most young species were afraid of alien technology. They did not try to understand it. "The worst part," Zexthul said, his skin now glowing dark purple, "is that they are getting ready. They know we exist. They know someone might come from the stars, and they are preparing for that day. The pictures showed humans building strange, new weapons, training in new ways, and working together like never before. They were not just fighting each other anymore. They were preparing to fight something from space. General Caxmore of the Hegemony Empire stood up. He was huge, with thick armor covering his body and forearms ending in sharp claws. His people had conquered many worlds across the galaxy. "This is foolish," General Caxmore said in a deep, growling voice. "The Hegemony has destroyed civilizations, 1,000 times more advanced than these humans. We have weapons that can destroy planets. We have shields that can stop any attack. These primitive creatures cannot harm us." Zextul's skin flashed every color at once. This meant he was desperate. "General, please listen. It is not about their weapons or their technology. It is about who they are. They never give up. They never surrender. They will find a way to hurt you even if it means they all die trying." But General Caxmore was already walking toward the door. "The Hegemony Empire does not fear children playing with fire. We will add Earth to our collection of conquered worlds." As the general left, many other aliens began to leave too. They had heard the warning, but they did not believe it. How could one small planet full of creatures without star travel be dangerous to mighty galactic empires? Only a few aliens stayed to talk with Zextul. They were from smaller, peaceful worlds. They understood that sometimes the most dangerous enemies were the ones you did not expect. "What should we do?" asked one of them. Zextul looked at the pictures of Earth still floating in the air. The blue and green planet looked so beautiful and peaceful from space, but he knew what lived on that world. "Stay away," he said quietly. "Mark their system as forbidden, put warning beacons around it, and pray that no one is foolish enough to attack them." But it was too late. General Caxmore was already sending messages to his fleet commanders. The Hegemony Empire had decided to conquer Earth. The trap was set. The humans did not know it yet, but their greatest test was coming, and they had been preparing for it their entire history. 6 months had passed since the warning at the Galactic Council. General Caxmore had returned to his homeworld and immediately began preparing for war. The Hegemony Empire was known across the galaxy for its powerful military. They had conquered 17 star systems and destroyed any world that dared to fight back. Now the 4th Assault Fleet was ready. Admiral Vexnar stood on the bridge of his flagship, a massive ship called Inevitable Conquest. The ship was 5 kilometers long and covered in weapons that could destroy entire cities. Its shields could stop almost any attack, and its engines could cross the galaxy in days. "Prepare for jump to the target system," Admiral Vexnar ordered. His voice was cold and confident. He had done this many times before. Attack a primitive world, demand surrender, and add another planet to the Empire. Around his flagship, hundreds of other ships waited in formation. There were 12 capital ships, each one bigger than a human city. 48 destroyers moved between them like deadly fish. Thousands of fighter craft filled the spaces between the larger ships. It was enough firepower to destroy a dozen worlds. "All ships report ready, Admiral," said Commander Thexval from his station. "Jump in 3, 2, 1, mark." Space twisted around the fleet. Stars stretched into lines of light, and then everything went black for a moment. When the stars returned, they were different. In the distance, a yellow sun burned brightly. Around it, several planets moved in their ancient dance. "Target acquired," the sensor officer reported. "Third planet from the star. Designation: Earth." Admiral Vexnar looked at the blue and green world on his screen. It looked so peaceful from this distance. He had seen many worlds like this before. They always looked beautiful from space, but they all felt the same way. "Begin long-range scanning," he commanded. "I want to know everything about their defenses before we move closer." The ship's powerful sensors reached across space, studying every part of Earth. The information came back quickly. Cities covered the land, connected by roads and filled with millions of people. There were military bases, but they looked simple compared to hegemony technology. "Primitive atomic weapons," the weapons officer reported. "Chemical rockets for space travel. No energy shields detected, No plasma weapons. No faster than light. Communication? Admiral Vexnar nodded. This was exactly what he had expected. Any space-based defenses? Negative, sir. Some small satellites in orbit, but they appear to be for communication and weather observation. No weapons detected. Perfect, the Admiral said with satisfaction. Move the fleet to high orbit. We will follow standard procedure. Show them our power. Demand surrender. Then occupy their major cities. But the Admiral did not know that his primitive enemies were already aware of his presence. The moment the hegemony fleet appeared in space, every telescope on Earth turned toward them. Radio signals flashed between military bases around the world. Emergency meetings began in every major capital. President Jake Morrison sat in the White House Situation Room, surrounded by his top advisors. On the screens around him, images of the alien fleet filled the room. The ships were huge and clearly built for war. How many ships? President Morrison asked. General Rick Hayes, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, studied the reports. Our best count is over 300 vessels, sir. 12 very large ships that appear to be their main battle wagons. The rest are smaller, but any one of them could probably destroy a city. Are our defenses ready? The president asked. Project Looking Glass has been active for 70 years, sir. General Hayes replied. Ever since Roswell, we have been preparing for this day. Every piece of alien technology we have found has been studied and copied. Our scientists have been working on this problem since 1947. Dr. Lisa Parker, the head of the Secret Space Defense program, leaned forward. Mr. President, the American people do not know it, but we have been building weapons in space for decades. The Star Wars program never ended. It just went black. What about our allies? President Morrison asked. Russia, China, Britain, France, and 12 other nations have been working with us, General Hayes answered. We have shared technology and built a combined defense network. The aliens think they are attacking one primitive world. They are actually attacking a planet that has been preparing for war for nearly a century. President Morrison nodded slowly. How long until they reach Earth? At their current speed, about 18 hours, Dr. Parker replied. But sir, they are moving very slowly. They think they have all the time in the world. Good, the president said grimly. That gives us time to spring the trap. Above Earth, Admiral Vexnar was pleased with what he saw. The planet below him was beautiful, with vast oceans and green continents. He could see the lights of cities on the dark side of the world. Soon all of this would belong to the Hegemony Empire. Open a communication channel to all major population centers, he ordered. Standard first contact protocol. The message went out on every radio and television frequency on Earth. Admiral Vexnar's face appeared on billions of screens around the world. He looked exactly like what humans expected from an alien invader. His skin was gray and covered in scales. His eyes were large and black. His mouth was full of sharp teeth. Primitive inhabitants of this world, he said in perfect English. The ship's computer had learned human languages in minutes. You are now subjects of the Hegemony Empire. Your weapons are useless against us. Your defenses cannot stop us. Surrender now, and we will allow some of you to live as slaves. Resist, and we will destroy your cities one by one until you beg for mercy. The message ended, and Admiral Vexnar leaned back in his command chair. He had given this same speech to dozens of worlds. Some surrendered immediately. Others tried to fight and were quickly destroyed. But they all ended the same way, with the hegemony flag flying over their burned cities. But Earth was different. Instead of panic, the response was immediate and coordinated. Every military base on the planet went to full alert. Missiles were armed and aimed at the sky. Fighter jets took off from hidden airfields. Naval fleets moved into position. Incoming. Transmission from the planet. The communication officer reported. Put it on screen, Admiral Vexnar ordered. He expected to see a terrified leader begging for mercy. Instead, he saw President Morrison sitting calmly behind his desk in the Oval Office. The human leader did not look afraid. He looked angry. This is President Jake Morrison of the United States of America, the human said. I am speaking for all the people of Earth. We have received your message and our answer is simple. Go home. You are not welcome here. Leave our solar system now, and we will not follow you. Stay, and you will regret it. Admiral Vexnar was shocked. In all his years of conquest, no primitive world had ever spoken to him like this. Usually they were crying and begging by now. Impossible, he muttered. They have no weapons that can hurt us. But he was wrong. Far below, in secret, bases hidden around the world, humans were preparing weapons that the aliens could not even imagine. Technologies that had been developed in the deepest black projects were being activated for the first time. Weapons that used the aliens' own physics against them were powering up. Sir, the sensor officer said nervously, I am detecting some unusual energy readings from the planet. What kind of readings? Admiral Vexnar asked. I am not sure, sir. The energy signatures are unlike anything in our database. Admiral Vexnar felt a small chill of worry, but he pushed it away. He was the admiral of the 4th Assault Fleet. He had destroyed worlds before. These primitives could not possibly hurt him. Prepare for bombardment, he ordered. Target their largest military installation. We will show them the price of defiance. The ship's main guns began to charge. Plasma energy built up in the weapon systems. In moments they would fire, and the humans would learn what happened to those who defied the hegemony empire. But Admiral Vexnar had made a terrible mistake. He thought he was hunting prey. He did not realize that he had just flown into the most dangerous trap in the galaxy. Admiral Vexnar stared at the blue planet below him. He had given the humans 18 hours to surrender, but they had refused. Now it was time to show them what happened when primitive worlds defied the hegemony empire. All ships, assume attack. Formation, he commanded. Prepare to fire demonstration bombardment. The massive alien fleet moved into position above Earth. The flagship Inevitable Conquest took the center position, with the other capital ships forming a circle around it. The destroyers spread out in a wide net, ready to catch any humans who tried to escape into space. Target locked on their primary military command center, the weapons officer reported. The building they call the Pentagon. Admiral Vexnar nodded with satisfaction. He had done this many times before. Destroy one important building, and the primitives would panic. Their leaders would surrender to save their people. It was always the same pattern. Fire, he ordered. Bright blue plasma bolts streaked down from space toward Earth. The energy weapons were powerful enough to turn the Pentagon into a crater of melted glass. But something impossible happened. The plasma bolts hit an invisible barrier and exploded harmlessly in the sky above Washington, D.C. What? Admiral Vexnar jumped up from his command chair. Scan for the source of those defensive shields. The sensor officer worked frantically at his controls. Sir, I cannot locate the source. The energy beams came from empty space. Deep, beneath Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado, Major Kate Sullivan watched her displays with grim satisfaction. X-37B Squadron, excellent work. Maintain cloak and prepare for the next wave. Above Earth's atmosphere, 12 small spacecraft hung invisible in space. They looked like simple space planes, but they contained technology that the aliens could not detect. For 20 years, these craft had been testing alien technology recovered from crashed ships. Now they were ready to use it. Orbital defense platforms Charlie Through Hotel, power up primary weapons. Major Sullivan ordered into her headset. Around the world, hidden installations began to activate. What looked like radio telescopes and weather stations were actually powerful beam weapons. Satellites that appeared to be space junk were really weapon platforms. The humans had been building a secret defense network for decades. Admiral Vexnar was getting angry. His perfect attack had been stopped by primitives who should not have any advanced technology. Increase power and fire again, maximum bombardment. This time, hundreds of plasma bolts rained down on Earth. They targeted military bases, government buildings, and communication centers. The aliens expected to see explosions and fires. Instead, they saw their weapons being intercepted by beams of energy that seemed to come from nowhere. Impossible, Admiral Vexnar roared. They have no shields. Our scans showed no advanced technology, but the humans had learned to hide their best weapons. Every crashed alien ship had been studied. Every piece of alien technology had been reverse engineered. What the aliens thought were primitive radio waves were actually sophisticated scanning systems that had been watching alien ships for 50 years. Colonel Pete Adams coordinated the defense from NORAD headquarters. All stations, the aliens are confused and angry. Perfect. Now we move to Phase 2. Around Earth, things that looked harmless began to reveal their true purpose. Communication satellites suddenly unfolded into weapon platforms. Weather balloons released clouds of metallic chaff that jammed alien sensors. Even the International Space Station extended hidden weapon arrays. "Sir," the alien sensor officer called out in panic, "I am detecting massive energy buildups all over the planet. Every major city is targeting us simultaneously." Admiral Vexenar looked at his tactical display in shock. Red warning lights appeared over every human city. Los Angeles, New York, London, Moscow, Beijing, Tokyo, and dozens of other cities were powering up weapons that his sensors had never detected. "How is this possible?" he whispered. Dr. Sarah Kim worked from a secure bunker beneath the Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta. She was not thinking about energy weapons or space battles. She was preparing something much more terrifying for any aliens who reached Earth's surface. "Biological warfare protocols are active," she reported to the Joint Command Center. "If any of their troops land, they will face every disease we have ever weaponized, plus some new ones we developed specifically for alien biology." The humans had thought of everything. They had prepared for space battles, ground invasions, cyber warfare, and even biological attacks. Every aspect of human civilization had been quietly turned into a weapon system. Admiral Vexenar tried to understand what was happening. Send fighter squadrons to attack their weapon platforms. Destroy the source of these defensive systems. Thousands of alien fighter craft streaked toward Earth. They were fast and deadly, equipped with plasma cannons and energy shields. But as they entered Earth's atmosphere, they met something unexpected. Captain Amy Foster sat in the cockpit of her F-35 Lightning II. But this was not an ordinary fighter jet. Hidden beneath its normal appearance was technology reverse-engineered from alien crashes. Its weapons could hurt alien ships, and its stealth systems could fool alien sensors. "Dragon Squadron, this is Dragon Leader," she spoke into her radio. "Aliens are entering our airspace. All units weapons free. Show them how humans fight." The sky above Earth erupted in the largest air battle in human history. Alien fighters met human aircraft in deadly combat. But the humans had advantages. The aliens did not expect. They knew how alien weapons worked because they had been studying them for decades. They knew how alien shields functioned because they had captured alien technology years ago. More importantly, the humans fought differently than any species the aliens had encountered. They used tactics that seemed insane but worked perfectly. Human pilots would ram alien ships if their weapons failed. They would sacrifice themselves to save their wingmen. They fought with a fury that the aliens could not understand. "This is impossible," Admiral Vexenar said as he watched his fighters being destroyed. "They should not be able to fight us like this." But the worst surprise was yet to come. As the battle raged in Earth's atmosphere, something new appeared on the alien sensors. A ship was rising from Earth's surface. It was clearly human-built, but it was moving faster than any human technology should allow. "Sir," the sensor officer reported with fear in his voice, "the humans have a ship that is using our own propulsion technology." The USS Enterprise rose majestically from its hidden base in Nevada. From the outside, it looked like a human spacecraft, but its engines were based on alien technology recovered from Roswell and dozens of other crash sites. Its weapons were human designs powered by alien energy systems. Captain Ben Rodriguez stood on the bridge of humanity's first true starship. "All stations, this is Enterprise. We are weapons-free and ready for combat. Let us show our visitors what happens when they threaten Earth." Admiral Vexenar realized that everything had gone wrong. The primitives were not primitive at all. They had been preparing for this battle for decades. Every crashed alien ship, every recovered piece of technology Every UFO sighting had been part of humanity's preparation for war. All ships withdraw to safe distance, he ordered. We need to reassess the situation. But it was too late for a tactical withdrawal. The humans had planned for that too. As the alien ships tried to pull back, they discovered that Earth's gravity was behaving strangely. The same gravitational fields that had brought them to Earth were now trapping them in orbit. Dr. Lisa Parker smiled as she watched her gravitational manipulation systems work perfectly. "Gotcha," she whispered. "You came to our home. Now you get to stay for the whole party." The trap was closing. The aliens had expected to fight a primitive world with simple weapons. Instead, they had flown into a carefully prepared killing ground. Every human on Earth had been preparing for this day their entire lives, even if they did not know it. The real battle was about to begin. Admiral Vexnar stared at his tactical display in growing horror. Half of his fighter squadrons were gone. His capital ships were trapped in Earth's gravity well, and somehow, the primitive humans were winning. "How many fighters have we lost?" he asked his tactical officer. "Over 2,000, sir," came the shaky reply. "The humans are using weapons we have never seen before. Their fighters are faster than our scans indicated. And, sir, they fight like they want to die." The Admiral had conquered many worlds, but he had never seen anything like this. Most species surrendered when they realized they could not win. Others fought until their losses became too great, then retreated. But the humans seemed to become more dangerous the more desperate they became. "Sir," the sensor officer called out, "I am detecting something strange. There are thousands of small objects floating in space around us. They were not there before." "Show me," Vexnar ordered. The main screen displayed the space around the fleet. At first, it looked empty. Then the computer enhanced the image and thousands of tiny objects became visible. They looked like pieces of space junk, broken satellites, and metal debris. "They are just floating garbage," the tactical officer said. Nothing to worry about. But Admiral Vexnar had survived many battles by being careful about details. Something about these objects bothered him. "Scan them more carefully. I want to know what they are." Colonel Pete Adams watched from his command center deep inside. NORAD. On his screen, he could see the alien fleet trying to figure out what was happening. He smiled grimly and spoke into his headset. "All stations. The aliens have finally noticed our little surprise. Activate the net." Around the alien fleet, thousands of objects that had looked like space junk suddenly came to life. They were not garbage at all. They were weapons that had been placed in Earth's orbit over many years. Each one was small and simple, but together they formed a deadly trap. Thin wires began to extend from the objects. The wires were made of a material that was almost invisible and incredibly strong. They stretched between the alien ships, creating a web of nearly unbreakable threads. "What is happening?" Admiral Vexnar demanded as his ships began to report problems. "Sir, there are wires everywhere," the tactical officer reported in panic. "They are cutting through our fighter squadrons. Our ships cannot maneuver without hitting them." The humans had turned the aliens' own speed against them. The faster an alien ship moved, the more damage the wires did. Fighter craft that tried to dodge the wires only flew into more of them. Larger ships that tried to change course found their hulls being sliced by invisible threads. "Use the main guns," Vexnar ordered. "Destroy those wire systems." But the wires were too thin and too numerous. The plasma cannons that could destroy cities were useless against thousands of tiny threads. Every shot destroyed a few wires, but there were always more. Dr. Sarah Kim sat in her laboratory beneath the CDC building in Atlanta. She was not watching the space battle. She was preparing for what would happen next. On her desk were samples of every biological weapon that humanity had ever created. But these were not ordinary diseases. "Biological warfare package is ready," she reported to the command center. "We have modified 17 different pathogens specifically for alien biology. If any of their troops reach the surface, they will face diseases that can kill them in hours." The humans had not just prepared for a space battle. They had prepared for every possible way the aliens might attack. Chemical weapons, biological weapons, cyber warfare, and even psychological warfare were all ready to be used. Captain Amy Foster flew her modified F-35 through the chaos above Earth. Around her, the greatest air battle in human history was raging. Alien fighters were everywhere, but they were confused and frightened. Their tactics were falling apart. "Dragon Squadron, this is Dragon Leader," she called over the radio. "The aliens are breaking formation. They do not know how to fight when their plans go wrong. Press the attack." Human pilots had trained for this moment their entire careers. Every video game, every flight simulator, every war movie had prepared them for fighting an alien invasion. They knew exactly what to do, while the aliens were facing something they had never encountered before. "Enterprise. This is Dragon Leader," Amy called to the human starship. "We have the sky. The aliens cannot coordinate their attacks anymore." Captain Ben Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the USS Enterprise. His ship was humanity's greatest secret, built using alien technology that had been recovered over 50 years. But it was more than just reverse-engineered alien equipment. It was a fusion of human creativity and alien science. "All weapons, target the alien command ship," he ordered. "Let us show them what happens when humans get angry." The Enterprise fired weapons that the aliens had never seen before. They were not copies of alien technology. They were human improvements on alien designs. The energy beams were more focused, more powerful, and more accurate than anything in the hegemony arsenal. Admiral Vexnar watched in shock as his flagship's shields began to fail under the human attack. "This is impossible. How can primitives have better weapons than us?" But the humans were not primitive. They were young, aggressive, and creative. Every alien technology they had found, they had made better. Every weapon they had studied, they had improved. Every mistake the aliens made, the humans had learned from. "Sir," the communication officer reported, "we are receiving a transmission from the planet." "Put it on screen," Vexnar ordered. President Jake Morrison appeared on the screen again, but this time he was not alone. Behind him stood military leaders from every major nation on Earth. American generals, Russian admirals, Chinese Air Force commanders, British intelligence officers, and many others. "Admiral Vexnar," President Morrison said calmly, "I believe you are beginning to understand your situation. You came to our world expecting to find frightened primitives. Instead, you found a planet that has been preparing for this day since before you were born." The president gestured to the people behind him. "These are the leaders of Earth's military forces. For the past 70 years, we have been studying every piece of alien technology that has fallen into our hands. We have been preparing for the day when someone like you would come to our world." Admiral Vexnar felt a chill run through his body. You knew we were coming?" "We knew someone would come eventually," President Morrison replied. "We did not know when or who, but we knew it would happen. So we prepared. We built weapons in secret. We trained our soldiers. We turned our entire planet into a fortress." The president's expression became hard. "You came here thinking you were hunters, but you are not hunters, Admiral. You are prey, and you have flown into the most dangerous trap in the galaxy." On the tactical display, Admiral Vexnar could see the truth of the president's words. His fleet was trapped by gravity fields, tangled in wire nets, and under attack by weapons that should not exist. His fighters were being destroyed by pilots who fought with impossible skill and courage. "Sir," the tactical officer said quietly, "we have lost over half our fleet. The humans are preparing for another attack. And sir, we cannot escape. The gravity fields are too strong." Admiral Vexnar realized that he had made the worst mistake of his military career. He had believed the reports that said humans were primitive. He had ignored the warnings from the Galactic Council. He had brought his fleet to attack a world that had been preparing for war longer than his species had existed. "Send a message to Hegemony Command," he ordered. Tell them we were wrong about Earth. Tell them to send more ships, many more ships." But it was too late for messages. The humans had thought of that too. Communication jammers were blocking all signals from leaving Earth's solar system. No word of the battle would reach hegemony space. Dr. Lisa Parker watched from her control center as the trap closed completely around the alien fleet. Gravitational field generators at maximum power, she reported. The aliens cannot escape, now. They are trapped in Earth orbit until we decide to let them go. And we are not letting them go, President Morrison said firmly. This ends here. Today, no alien ship leaves this system to threaten Earth again. The trap was complete. The aliens had come expecting an easy victory. Instead, they had found a world that had turned warfare into an art form. Every human on Earth was descended from survivors of countless wars. Every human nation had been forged in the fire of battle. Now it was time for the final act of the greatest battle in human history. Admiral Vexnar stood on the bridge of his dying flagship. Around him, alarms blared and sparks flew from damaged control panels. Through the view screen, he could see the beautiful blue planet that had become his tomb. Damage report, he said, quietly. Hull breaches on decks 7 through 12, his engineering officer reported. Main weapons are offline. Shields are at 15%. Life support is failing in 3 sections. The admiral looked at the tactical display. Of his mighty fleet of over 300 ships, only 47 were still fighting. The rest were destroyed or disabled, floating as broken metal around Earth. The humans had not just defeated them. They had destroyed them completely. Sir, the communication officer said, the humans are sending us a message. Put it through, Vexnar replied. He expected to hear demands for surrender or threats of final destruction. Instead, he heard something that chilled him to his core. It was President Morrison again, but this time he was not angry. He sounded sad and tired. Admiral Vexnar, the human leader, said, I want you to understand something before this ends. We did not want this fight. We offered you the chance to leave peacefully. But you chose to threaten our world and our people. The president paused, looking directly at the camera. Do you know why we were so ready for you? It is not because we are naturally violent. It is because we have been fighting each other for thousands of years. Every day of human history, somewhere on our planet, people have been at war. On the screen behind President Morrison, images began to appear. They showed human battles throughout history. Ancient warriors with swords and shields, medieval knights in armor, soldiers with muskets and cannons, tanks and aircraft from world wars, modern troops with advanced weapons. We have fought with rocks and sticks, the president continued. We have fought with swords and spears. We have fought with guns and bombs. We have fought in the air, on the sea, underground, and in space. Fighting is not something we do, Admiral. Fighting is what we are. Admiral Vexnar watched the images with growing understanding. He had thought the humans were primitive because they still fought each other, but that was exactly what made them so dangerous. They had never stopped learning how to kill. Every human child grows up hearing stories of war, President Morrison said. Our entertainment is about battles and heroes. Our games teach us strategy and tactics. Our sports are about competition and victory. We have turned the art of warfare into our culture. More images appeared. Human children playing with toy soldiers, teenagers playing war games on computers. Movies about space battles and alien invasions. The humans had been preparing for this fight their entire lives, even when they did not know it. But there's something else you need to understand, the president said. When humans face a threat from outside, we stop fighting each other and work together. You united us, Admiral. Every nation on Earth is now fighting as one army. Through his ship's sensors, Admiral Vexnar could see the truth of those words. Human military forces from every country were working together perfectly. American satellites guided Russian missiles. Chinese fighters protected British ships. Japanese technology powered French weapons. The humans had turned their entire planet into a single, coordinated war machine. Captain Ben Rodriguez spoke from the bridge of the USS Enterprise. Admiral, your species made a mistake. You thought we were weak because we fight among ourselves. But that fighting made us strong. Every human nation has different ways of warfare. When we combine them all, we become unstoppable. Dr. Lisa Parker added her voice from the Defense Command Center. We have been studying your technology for decades, Admiral. Every ship that crashed on our world, every probe that fell into our hands, every piece of alien equipment we found. We took it apart, learned how it worked and made it better. The Admiral realized the horrible truth. The humans had not just copied alien technology, they had improved it. Their weapons were more powerful than hegemony weapons. Their ships were faster than hegemony ships. Their tactics were better than anything the Empire had ever faced. "Sir," his tactical officer whispered, "the humans are moving in for the final attack." Around the dying alien fleet, human ships closed in from all directions. The USS Enterprise led the attack, but it was not alone. Other human vessels had risen from hidden bases around the world. Some looked like military ships, but others looked like civilian spacecraft that had been secretly armed. "All human vessels. This is Enterprise Actual," Captain Rodriguez announced over the radio. "Execute final assault. Leave no alien ship capable of escape." The battle that followed was not really a battle at all. It was an execution. The alien ships were trapped, damaged, and outnumbered. The humans attacked with precision and overwhelming force. One by one, the remaining hegemony vessels were destroyed. Admiral Vexnar knew his ship would be next. He activated his personal recorder for the last time. "Personal log, Admiral Vexnar, 4th Assault Fleet," he said sadly. "We came to conquer a primitive world. Instead, we found the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The humans are not primitive. They are simply young, but they have spent their entire existence learning how to kill." He looked out at the swirling battle around his ship. Every aspect of their civilization has been shaped by war. They have turned conflict into an art form. When faced with an external threat, they unified instantly and fought with a skill we could not match. The Admiral's ship shook as human weapons struck its hull. They did not just defend themselves, they turned their entire world into a weapon. And now they have our technology. They will improve it, just as they have improved everything else. The ship's lights flickered and went out. Emergency power kicked in, casting everything in red light. "This is my final log entry. To any hegemony forces who find this record, do not come to Earth. Do not threaten the humans. They are not prey. They are predators. And they are coming." The USS Enterprise fired its final shot. Admiral Vexnar's flagship exploded in a ball of fire that could be seen from Earth's surface. 3 months later, Ambassador Zexthul sat in his office on the Galactic Council station. He was reading reports from the edge of hegemony space. Small probe had been found drifting between stars. Inside it were the remains of Admiral Vexnar's final log and pieces of destroyed hegemony ships. The probe also contained a message from Earth. President Morrison appeared on Zexthul's screen. Behind him stood representatives from every nation on Earth. They looked calm and confident. "Greetings to the Galactic Council," the human leader said. "We are the people of Earth. We understand that the Hegemony Empire recently decided to visit our world without invitation. We have sent the remains of their fleet back to hegemony space as a message." The president's expression became serious. "We are not looking for war with the galaxy, but we are prepared for it. We suggest that future contact be conducted through proper diplomatic channels. Come in peace and you will be welcomed as friends. Come as enemies, and you will join the hegemony fleet." The message ended, leaving Zexthul alone with his thoughts. He had tried to warn them. He had told the Council that Earth was dangerous. But even he had not understood just how dangerous the humans really were. The next day, the Galactic Council held an emergency session. The vote was unanimous. Earth would be invited to join the Council as an equal member. The alternative was too terrible to consider. When the invitation arrived at Earth 6 months later, it was delivered by a very nervous but extremely polite Vorthan delegation. They came in small, unarmed ships and requested permission to land. President Morrison met them personally at the landing site. "Welcome to Earth," he said with a smile. "We accept your invitation to join the Galactic Council. We look forward to working with you in peace." The Vorthan ambassador, Zexthul himself, bowed respectfully. "We are honored to welcome Earth to the galactic community. We apologize for the unfortunate first contact experience with the hegemony." "Apology accepted," President Morrison replied. "But let this be a lesson to everyone in the galaxy. Earth is our home. We will protect it with everything we have. Those who come in peace will find friends. Those who come as enemies will find why we are the most dangerous species in the universe. As the human and alien diplomats shook hands, children around the world played with new toys. But these were not ordinary toys. They were models of the USS Enterprise and other human ships that had defeated the alien invasion. The children did not know it, but they were already learning the lessons that would make humanity the greatest military force in the galaxy. The trap had worked perfectly. Earth was safe, and the galaxy would never underestimate humanity again.